I think my priority today is really to emphasise our commitment to new fuels and new technologies for the industry. We're going to see a major step change when it comes to this transition to a zero carbon economy, and we have to play our part, Without sounding too defensive, it's, we have to recognise that we are a hard to abate sector. We have to carry our own fuel. We need to make sure that we can bunker it in the places that we travel to. So we'll be emphasising also some of those challenges, how we can work collaboratively to try and address all those and end up with a fuel that's usable, that's feasible, that's commercially viable. Yeah, our latest ship is really our kind of environmental flagship, really, MSC World Europa, which will be delivered in a couple of weeks, and we'll have a naming ceremony in the middle of November. That's an LNG capable vessel, so we can run on LNG, which is a really important transitional fuel. First of all, it's available commercially at scale, so it means we can make an immediate improvement in our emissions profile, in particular emissions at port. Whilst we have shore power capability on a lot of our ships, a lot of the places we don't go to still don't have that port infrastructure in place yet. Of course, that's improving, but it means we can have a much lower emissions profile at port. It also has a significant carbon emissions profile reduction improvement. And if we can't operate on the LNG, then it's capable of operating on marine gas oil, which is again, a relatively kind of clean fuel, particularly in terms of those local emissions. The other main attribute or technology we're showcasing on World Europa is fuel cell technology, which is basically a completely different way of generating energy from fuel. In this case, it's an electrochemical reaction as opposed to internal combustion engine. Because we're using LNG, there's a fuel cell we can use that is capable of using LNG, and we can see really by showcasing a demonstration fuel cell on board how effective that really is. We've got an idea of how much better it is at generating that energy, the kind of efficiency of that conversion, with a view to potentially scaling that up. And again, it comes back to, a port in a place where there isn't shore power. If we were able to only run on those fuel cells whilst we're in port, then we could effectively be zero emissions at port. So this is all part of that decarbonisation journey.
And hopefully have some.
Yes, hopefully those fuel cells will be able to. They'll be able to once they're on board, then we can use them at any time. And in particular, we'd look at fulfilling the hotel load at the ship, because of course we have the propulsion and the hotel load. But one thing we have to remember is that whilst there'll be a lot of ports that will be able to develop their infrastructure for shore power capability, cruise ships, and in particular the smaller cruise ships, where we will be launching next year our new brand, Explorer Journeys, which is a luxury, smaller ships. They will go to places that it'll be a long time before that infrastructure is built up in some of these smaller ports and destinations, and perhaps not ever. So we do have to account for the fact that we'll be going to places that won't have shore power capability.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been to Greenport Congress and Cruise last year as well, so this is my second time. It's hugely important that I stay relevant. It's important for me to listen and learn myself. I don't know all the answers, and it's interesting already, even partway through the first day, hearing different people's opinions on what fuels will be available in the future, what sort of fuels we should be focused on. You ask 10 different people, you potentially get 10 different answers. So it's really important that we kind of keep those conversations going. There isn't a single solution for this, but it's really important that we learn from each other and we kind of forge those relationships.